Hello, it is 4:19 on Friday, March 10th. I am recording this session on user authentication with Devise for the Craft Academy Bootcamp students. You guys will be watching this over the weekend, and you will let us know if you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer everything that you write on Monday. So, what are we learning today? We are going to go over user authentication with Devise. You guys have already been using Devise, even if you weren't totally sure that you were doing it. Anytime that you used current_user in the mailbox program, you are working with a Devise helper method. You also have a bit of familiarity. I still can't say it. Anyway, you're all familiar with Warden. Devise is a more complex version of Warden that we use in Rails. So we are going to work again with our lovely dinosaurs example. We start by adding Devise to our gem file. Since you guys last were around, I'll just show you briefly. I added an index page. This is our index page here, localhost. It is a dinosaur's root, and you can view individual dinosaurs. If you click on this link, you'll see that we go here, /dinosaur/ID. I will demonstrate that in my Rails roots. And here we go. We've got the dinosaur index. We have the individual dinosaur show pages. And I've defined our root as the dinosaur index page. And so when we go to that root, that's what we get. Okay, so back to my slides. We will find our gem file. We're going to add Devise. Then we will bundle. Good. And then we are going to do some installations. Now, the way that you guys would want to do this is you create a feature file and you say, given I'm on the such and such page, when I go to sign up, then I'm going to fill in all these things. Devise comes with a lot of functionality out of the box, so it's okay if you sort of install these things and figure it out as you go. But if you add Devise to your program, which you almost certainly will, you should make sure that you get all of it tested. So Devise has a couple of generators that we can use. Really good times. So if we want to put Devise in our system, we say Rails G Devise install. And it's going to give us a few warnings, and we will just follow them. So ensure you have defined default URL options in your environments files. Here's an example of a default URL options appropriate for development environment. Config, environments, development. We're just going to copy paste this guy right in there. We probably don't actually need to do this, but we want to make sure that we don't set ourselves up for failure in the future. We don't currently use any mailers, but if we decided to later, we'd be getting weird errors that we wouldn't understand. Better just take care of it now. Config, environments, development. And we are going to find where the other action mailer is. The stuff is here. We'll just put this guy down here. Very good. Next, ensure you have defined root URL to something in your config roots. We have done that. Ensure you have Flash messages, apps, views, layouts, application. I believe I do already have that. Let's make sure. I don't, so we'll just grab this. We're going to put that above my yield. Now, you guys were supposed to research Flash messages at some point in the past. Week 3. If you don't know what a Flash message is, then you should research it at some point. This weekend would be a good time. All right, next, we are going to examine our changes. They look good. We'll do git add, git commit am, install Devise with generator. Then we're going to copy the last suggestion from our dialog here, Rails G Devise views. And this is going to give us a whole bunch of views for signing up, logging in, and things like resetting your password. Really helpful stuff out of the box. Let's see. So this has created a whole bunch of views. Let's go check some of them out. So we have views, Devise, confirmations, mailer, passwords, registrations, sessions, shared unlocks. Very good. So what has happened? Wait, let's see. Do I tell you how to do this? Oh, I never tell you how to do the routes. I should have. So we have lots of views, but no routes to those views. So what do? We say mount. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Copy from other thing. Where is it? So Devise is like a little bit different than other things that we've worked with. We need to mount it as an engine, which is just a special way of saying we're going to use all of the Devise crap. So we say Devise for, we don't say mount. Okay, Devise for, and now we need to determine what we want our user class to be called. And the default is user. And when you're searching for things online, it's very helpful to remember that the default is user. If you have a problem with Devise and you're getting an error that includes the name of your model, if it's not user, it's a good idea to replace that with user when you go searching. But what I actually want to do is use researcher, because we're working with dinosaurs. Maybe we have researchers or scientists or something of the sort. So I'm going to use researcher. And I think this might work, but I may have to create the model before Rails routes is happy. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is use another Devise generator to create the model. So Rails G Devise researcher is going to create our researcher model and do a bunch of Devise stuff to it, unless you're still unhappy about my routes. All right. All right, so I didn't have this model yet, so that made it very unhappy. And oh, look, I just did it out of line. Okay, so Devise automatically sets up all of our routes for researchers. Very good. It creates a migration file for us. We can check that out. DB migrate. We're going to add a whole bunch of stuff, an email, encrypted password. We're going to have tokens. We're going to have remember at. We're going to have sign-in counts. And then there's these things that we could uncomment. We're not going to do it now, but these are if you want to make users respond by email. You know, when you go to sign up somewhere and you can't use the site until you confirm your email address. So that's what this is for. Lockable is if you want them to only have so many guesses at their password. So both of those are commented out by default, and we're going to leave them there. We also get a researcher model. So let's go check that out. You'll see we have these weird Devise things in here. We can just let those be for now. Each of these does a different thing. You're welcome to research them. You probably don't need to worry about it too much. The one we end up using sometimes is omni-authable. This is how we sign in through Facebook and Twitter and GitHub and all of those things. Confirmable is what we would undo if we wanted to have that email confirmation thing. Lockable for the password lockout. Okay. And then it's also helpfully going to give us a spec file. It's going to give us a factory. And then it creates this route for researchers. So git status. Git status. We're just going to add all these guys in. Git commit am install Devise routes or views and routes. Very good. And we also need to do Rails DB migrate in order to set up our database with our researcher. All right, good. So now if we go to our schema, we have researchers, and this looks a whole lot like what you guys are used to seeing in the mailboxer, except we use users instead of researchers. Good. So you get, okay, and then I wanted to show you guys. So we used to have this, now we have auth sign in, I think it is. Oh, really? Researchers sign up. Where's my routes? Devise for researchers. What's wrong with you? I'm not sure why that doesn't work. Devise for researchers. Probably going to end up cutting this part of the video up. The heck? The heck is wrong with Devise for researchers? All right, so that was embarrassing, and I hopefully figured out how to cut it from our thing, but you have to restart your server after you install Devise. So I'm doing that. Then we are going to reload this guy. Very good. We're going to say researchers / sign up. And then I didn't create this. This comes standard with Devise. So let's sign in a bit. Here's my email. I'll say my password is password. I'm going to sign up. Welcome, you have signed up successfully. This is a flash message. Very good. Now, that's okay. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. So, and then I want to show you flash messages only last as long as the current page you're on. If you go to another page, they disappear. If you go back, and you refresh, now it's gone. Okay, so that was Devise installation. So let's say that we want to have an additional attribute on our researcher. We decide, no, you know, researchers, they should have names. So come over here and we're going to say Rails G migration add name to researcher. And we're going to say name string. And that is going to create a migration file for us. We're going to examine it to make sure that it is what we want. Come on now. So here we're going to add a column to researchers, the word name string, very good. Rails DB migrate. All right, and then our form here, our sign up form. And unfortunately, I've signed up, so now I can't fucking go again. I think, can I sign out? Destroy. Yeah, if I just visit this page. Actually, I don't think I can do that either. This happens actually every time I work with Devise. So one of the first things you want to do is create like a sign out button, because otherwise you end up where you can't view the form again. So what I'm gonna do is just make a new, not a new window, a new incognito window. And incognito window is very helpful if you want to have another instance of your server here. So, or another browser viewing your server with like a different IP. So we're gonna go researchers, sign up. And here's our form again. All right, so even though our researcher now has a name, our form didn't update. This is just a Devise default. So let's go check this form out. So Devise, registrations, new. And we can see here, here's our email field, here's our password field, here's our password confirmation field. All right, so we're going to copy this and paste. And we're going to call this one name and name. And the autofocus is not going to be here. That's no good. And it's not an email field. This one is a text field. All right, so let's refresh. There's our name. Very good. Okay, so what happens if we try to sign up? What we're going to see, and let's see, we really should use a test for this. Let's write one really fast. Features, sign, this is registration, feature, yes, feature, as a user, in order to access site, should be researcher. In order to access the site, I need to sign up. Okay, so scenario, given I am on the registration page. When I fill in email with email@random.com, and I fill in name with Amber, and I fill in password with password, and I fill in password confirmation with password, and I click sign up. Then Amber should be a registered user with, and then if we were really going to test this, we'd test all of these things, but all I'm going to test in this particular demonstration is that my name has been set. Amber should be a registered user with name Amber, and actually I'm going to say email@random.com should be a registered user with name. Okay, so given I'm on the registration page, and I'm going to come over here and new researcher registration. The helper for that is new researcher registration right here. We will say here. And WebStorm here is very helpful, or RubyMine lets me create a step definition. I'm going to call this basic steps. Good. Given I'm on the registration page, we're going to visit to research a registration path. All right, let's see, what else do we need? When I fill in blah with blah, let's, no, all right. Also a basic step, when I fill in field with content, we're gonna say fill in field with content, very good. Last one, oh, nope, this one. That's also a basic step. We're going to say this is button, click, link, or button, very good. And then, well, last but not least, we come over here, create a step definition. I'm going to make a new file. This is user steps. Good. And this is email and name. Okay. So now I'm going to say user is equal to user dot find by email. And here's my expectation. Expect user dot name to equal name. Good. Let's run it. Computer's a little slower than normal today. Sorry, guys. I don't know why. Oop, what did I do? Oh, yeah, I get this error all the time, and I haven't figured out how to fix it, and it's really irritating. And every time I make a database migration, I have to set this environment thing, and I don't know why. Bug. All right. You cannot find the field password confirmation. I suspect that is because that needs to be a lowercase c. Let's try that. Good. Okay, so user is uninitialized constant user. That makes sense because I called this researcher. So to make this easier for anyone reading my code, including myself in the future, I'm just going to change everything. I don't have to. I could have kept the little users user, but it's helpful to know what we're working with. Okay, good. So I said email@random.com should be a registered user with name Amber. I filled in Amber. I filled in my email. I filled in my password. Where the heck is my name? So let's put a binding cry in here and see what's going on. All right, so what's my researcher? All right, so we got an ID, we have an email, we got a name that's nil. What's up with that? So let's see. What if we do researcher.name is Amber? Okay, sounds good. And then we'll do researcher.save. And this is what our form is doing, essentially, right? What we think it's doing. All right, so let's see, what's researcher now? Hey, why did it save here but not there? Let's go take a look and see if we can't figure out what's going on. So we can go over to our controller. Where's my controller? Oh, right. All right, so the thing with using these generators and these big libraries is that we often have to overwrite methods inside of them. And so what's happening is my Devise, my basic setup is totally cool. Let's see if I can find this guy again. Totally cool with email, totally cool with password confirmation. But any of this other stuff that I want to add, it needs us to whitelist it, just like we did for other params, except that we don't have a controller that deals with that, right? So what we actually need to do is come in here and say, how do we get the Devise controllers? All right, well, I actually don't need the whole Devise controller. All I need at the moment is to change the way that my application whitelists params. So I have an example that I'm just going to steal right now. And I'm going to copy it, and you guys can do the same thing. If you run into this problem, you have a form and everything seems like it's working out okay, except that all of the values, all of the extras you've put in, they're getting lost. What you need to do is whitelist those params. And the place we can do that is in our application controller. And we're going to say, before action, we're going to configure permitted parameters if it's a Devise controller. So our application knows if we're working with a Devise controller. We don't have them here. We could, and we will actually in just a minute. But we have them in the library, and so our application knows if we're referencing a Devise controller. And here we're going to call configure permitted parameters. That's right here. And Devise has a special method called Devise parameter sanitizer. So during sign up, we're going to permit email, password, password confirmation, and name. And that's it. So let's see if that works for us. Did I take the user steps out of here? Yes. Why are you unhappy? There's something I didn't close. I never put an end to this method. All right, good. So we quit out of here. Let's see if our test passes now. And it does, yay. So let's do git status, and we'll say git commit, we'll do git add, say git commit, sanitize, name. I actually did a whole bunch of other stuff I should have committed earlier, my apologies. So I'm gonna copy this stuff and put that in the slides too for you guys. All right, so that is adding extra attributes to Devise models. And then we can do two more things I want to show you with Devise. So say that we no longer want any old schmuck to be able to look at individual dinosaurs. Maybe we have, sensitive information. We only want registered users to be able to look at those dinosaurs. So we can come over here to our dinosaur show page. So we don't care about Devise anymore. We want dinosaur show. And we can say, if current researcher, and this means if there's one logged in, show us this stuff. We could say else, show us this stuff. You are not a registered researcher. All right. So let's try that. And again, I should be writing tests for this. I'm very bad. Wait a minute. If currently, what did I do? Right, yes. Okay, so not working. Why? Because we did not, in our controller, set our method here. So before action, authenticate researcher, only show. All right, so what we're going to do, this authenticate researcher bang is another Devise method. It's going to allow us to verify that there's a logged in user before we go to the show page. So, oh, yes, and I'm logged in, and that's, of course, why this is working. So if I go back here where I'm not logged in, and I say try to go here, it says, can't do it. You need to sign in or sign up before continuing. And, of course, I don't need any of this because the application will not let me visit this page unless I'm a registered user. That is what this method does. Okay, so it actually redirects you back here to this, you need to log in. Okay, so that is authentication. Then if we can also make it so that you don't have to necessarily be logged in to see a page. But if you are logged in, you might get extra information. So let's say we want on our index page, we want to show all the dinosaurs, but if we have a logged in user, we want to say, hello user. So we can say if current researcher, and then we're going to have our end. If current researcher, hello, current researcher.name. All right, so if we go back on here, we should see hello Amber. Oh yes, because when I was created, I didn't have a name, right? And if we come over here, we're not going to see anything because I am not logged in. There you go. So that is how we use these methods. I'll clean this up. That is how we use these methods in our views. And we can also use them in our controllers for other things. What could we do? What could we do? Where did my controller go? Dinosaur controller. I can say at name is current researcher.name. Of course, I didn't register with a name, so I don't have one. But you can do things like this. In your mailboxer method, you were using things like at user.messages, right? Current user.messages. All right. All right, last thing. User, yes. And then the other thing is that you often end up wanting to override the sign in and sign up like pages. So after you are on this sign up page, let's see, researchers/sign up. When you click sign up and you successfully register, it's going to take you back to the root page. It's going to take you to the home page. But you may not want that behavior. You may want to do something else. So what we have to do is we're going to create controllers that we can overwrite. So we're not stuck with just the default Devise behavior. We can do whatever we want. We can adjust all the Devise methods however we like. Some setup you must do manually if you haven't yet. Yes, actually, so this is being very helpful for us. The only thing we are going to overwrite is the registrations controller. So we come over here to roots, if my thing will let me. Roots, please. Controllers. It should have put them in researchers, yes, and registrations. So we're going to keep sessions exactly as they are. We want to change the sign up path after login. So what we've done here is we've said Devise for researchers by itself is going to take us to the libraries controllers. What we're saying is instead of going there, go here. Go to this researchers/registrations controller. And we come to our controllers, researchers. We have all of this crap that we just use through the generator. That's sort of okay for now, but we probably don't want to keep things that we don't want to use, right? So Devise very helpfully has everything commented out for us. So we're going to change just these methods down here. Sign up path 4. And we want to change, let's see, did I type this in? Yeah, so after sign up path 4, we're not going to call, so super means we're just going to do whatever the whatever the default behavior is for this method. But instead of doing that, we want to do let's see. I mean, where do we want to go? Let's go to I don't know. Let's go to the first dinosaur. Why not? That'll be fun. So we're changing this default behavior from going to the index page with all the dinosaurs to look at the first dinosaur. Maybe we always want to see the first dinosaur. I don't know. So we're going to go to dinosaur path 1. All right. And then let's see if that works. So we can just adjust our test to make sure that this is doing what we want it to do. So registration feature, then I email blah, 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 blah. We need to put a dinosaur in our thing. So given a dinosaur named Henry exists, we'll define this one. We're just going to put this in basic steps, even though it's clearly a dinosaur step. That's name. And so we're going to do factory girl.create dinosaur name. Okay. And then if we run that, or we're going to say blah, 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 should be a registered user, then, and I should see Henry. Oh, we don't have a should see. This is definitely basics. Content. Expect page to have content. All right, good. So, guys, it's taking way longer than I thought it would. My apologies. All right, but now I'm thinking, what if they're on the index page? They're still going to see Henry. Let's make another dinosaur, and a dinosaur named Anna exists, right? But if we're on the Henry dinosaur page, we shouldn't see Anna, so I should not see Anna. So let's see. Let's make that one also a basic step. This is content. Expect page not to have content. All right, let's see if that's working. All right, so this time, unfortunately, we can't find dinosaur with ID 1, and that is because I hard-coded this number 1. What we want to do is say dino is dinosaur.first. Then we come over here and say dino.id. And the reason this doesn't work is because our databases never reuse numbers. So the first time we ran this test, it worked because it did use number 1. Second time it runs the test, it's going to use a different number. It's going to use ID 2. And so it's going to tell me it can't find ID 1 because it doesn't exist. It's been deleted. All right, so now we're quite sure that this test is doing what we think it's doing. We're going to say git add, git commit, am, overwrite, sign, like, what is this? After sign up path 4 in Devise registration control. All right. And that is everything. So I've got this stuff. So again, like this actually is going to be a problem for you. So make sure you do not hard code numbers in like this. If we wanted to override other, if we wanted to override other controllers, we could do that in the same way. You just say sessions or omniauth or whatever it is. The other thing I want to show you is that you can go to the Devise docs. They are quite long, quite detailed. You will be using Devise for probably every project you make that has users. So it's good to get familiar with it. And that is everything I wanted to talk to you guys about. Drop any questions in the channel, and I will look forward to grading your quizzes. Okay, bye guys.